Hey everybody, it's Christopher Small, the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Today, I want to talk to you about the downsides of a SLAT, okay? Before we get to that though, I want to remind you, if you have questions about this or anything else related to estate planning or probate and you want to talk with us over the phone for free, you can do so by going to cmslawfirm.com. Okay, downsides of a SLAT. If you, hopefully if you go to the last video or the last podcast episode, I talked about what a SLAT is generally, spousal lifetime access trust. A really short version is you create an irrevocable trust, you put your assets into it, the beneficiary of that trust is your spouse. And what that does is anything that you would put into that trust would be sort of moved out of your estate and would not be subject to estate taxes when you died. Why is this important? Well, right now, the estate tax exemption amount is $12.2 million per person, roughly, which means if you're married, you have about $24 million worth of room. That is going to go down significantly in 2026 unless something happens in Congress, which we all know is not likely to happen. The guess is that it's going to go down to about half of what it is right now. So at 24 will go down to 12. If you wait until that time, then you will lose that potential exemption amount. So if you are over, that amount, so this would be a relatively high net worth thing that people want to think about for the most part. If you're in Washington State, it can also help because you can reduce your Washington State estate tax exemption amount. If you're in any other states with any other estate taxes, it can also be beneficial potentially. You are going to want to think about using this, but it does have some downsides. That's what we're going to talk about right now. There are 5 that I came up with kind of on the fly that I want to talk about real quick. The first one and the most important one, this is where people naturally go because we're humans and we like to take advantage of the rules, is that the IRS watches these types of trusts relatively closely, which means you cannot just give $5 million into this trust and then start taking it out and using it for whatever that you want. Okay, it just doesn't work exactly like that. The best strategy, the best approach to take with a SLAT is whatever assets you are going to move over into that trust, you're going to just let them sit and grow and be amazing and be outside of your estate. If you put $5 million of assets in there right now, in 20 years, you could have $12-15 million worth of assets. And when you die, those are going to be untaxed, non-taxed. So don't think about it in terms of a way to get rid of money and then use it. Think of it as a sort of a investment vehicle that will allow you to grow things outside of having to pay that estate tax, okay? Number 2, if your spouse dies, if you make a SLAT and your spouse dies, that could be no bueno for you, depending on who the down the line beneficiaries are. Often, although what I said for number 1 is true, often these trusts will be created to provide the donor, the creator of the trust, some benefit, right? Their spouse is going to be receiving some benefit. You would think they would receive some benefit from that as well. However, if the next level of distributions is to the kids or to charity or to who knows wherever else it might go, and your spouse dies, then that's not good necessarily. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, if you get divorced, okay, if you don't structure your trust in a way that thinks about divorce, then you could be in trouble, right? So let's say you create this thing, you transfer all your money over, your spouse is the beneficiary of this trust, then you guys get divorced. That does not change the characterization and the rules of that SLAT. They remain ongoing. So consider that when you're creating a SLAT. Number 4 is the reciprocal trust doctrine. A lot of people think, and I honestly, when I was first learning about these, I thought the same thing. Well, why don't you just take, I'll take 12 million and my spouse could take 12 million and we just give it to each other and then this would be great. Well, the reciprocal trust doctrine says you cannot do that. If both spouses make a SLAT, they have to be different in some way, okay, materially. So they have to actually be different. And the IRS will, again, scrutinize these things and make sure that they are different, or they basically will just flow right back to you and kind of defeat the whole purpose. So if you're going to be creating SLATs for each spouse, It's very, very important that they are materially different in some way, all right? And number 5, this is true of all irrevocable trusts. Whatever assets you put into that trust are going to be transferred over with your original tax basis. So whatever you bought them for. So if you buy a house for $100,000 and it's now worth $1 million, and you move that house into your SLAT, the tax basis is going to be $1 million, which means if you sell that house inside of the trust, then taxes are going to be paid on that $900,000 of gain. If, as a reminder, that house is transferred post-death, then it would receive a step up in basis and no capital gains taxes would be owed on the sale. Hopefully that makes sense. So you are sort of saving some estate tax and lose actually a pretty good deal, okay? Because the estate tax is at 40%, capital gains is at 20. So you're losing the 20, but you're making up, another 20 plus 20. So you're net positive most of the time. Again, talk to an attorney, talk to a financial planner before you're gonna do these things, just make sure. And that's it. Those are the downsides of a SLAT. As always, as I just mentioned, if you would like to talk with us more about estate planning or probate, you can talk with us over the phone for free by going to cmslawfirm.com. That is it for today. As always, I am Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Appreciate you. And I will talk to you again soon. See ya.